All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us today as we examine what you should know about rules engines for peak operational efficiency. My name is Danny Corbett, and I'm the Analyst Relations Manager at Decisions. That means I'm the guy that talks to Gardner and Forrester and those folks, and I'm also good at webinars. So I'm here, but I'm not all that smart, not all that bright, former sales guy. So I brought a smart guy with me, Frank Mummer from our sales engineering group. Say hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Right on. Before we get started, everybody, I just want to make a couple of quick plugs. We hold the most amazing live training events in the world. We bring together our prospects, our customers, our founders, our developers, architects, and engineers. We put them all in a room and we take some training in the platform itself. We also examine interesting use cases, and we also have a great time. This next one is coming up July 23rd through the 25th. In Denver, Colorado. Great event. Last year, we actually all ended up at Red Rocks. Great time. Our customer Fire Recovery USA is going to be highlighting how they're using AI and the Decisions Rules Engine to automate their claim billing process. And then October the 8th through the 10th, we will be in Singapore if you're in APAC. Also, some other upcoming webinars, AI rules engines in healthcare, improving improving decisions and patient outcomes. That one is on July 31st. And in case you missed it, check out our V9 with Project Hub webinar that just happened recently. It's on demand. You can go check that out as well. Project Hub, really amazing advance in our technology, giving you insights into the actual health of the projects that you're building and helps you manage them much more easily. Oh, quick plug for me from the analyst relations perspective. We were just named a major contender by the Everest Group in their peak matrix for process mining for 2024. So that's really cool. Process mining gives you the tools to be able to efficiently optimize and get more out of the applications that you build, the automations that you build by examining log data. So you can identify bottlenecks in processes and then assess the impact of either streamlining those or just retiring them. So check that out. If you look at the bottom of our homepage, there are links to all of our analyst reports, Gardner, Forrester, all that stuff. So we, as I mentioned earlier, the chat is open. So please don't hesitate if you have a question during our discussion today. You can fire it off. Got a bunch of people on here from Decisions to answer those questions for you live time. But we'll also have some time for a Q&A at the end. So don't be shy. So just a brief cap of the agenda of what we're going to do today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Decisions platform. I'll try to keep it brief, non-salesy, just kind of a friendly reminder of what we do. And then Frank, we're going to talk about Frank and I are going to talk about what is a rules engine, how it's used, and then Frank's actually going to demonstrate to you some of the types of rules that are available in the Decisions platform, and then we'll have some Q&A at the end as well. So there are 5 pillars to automation. These are the tools that Decisions gives you to automate literally any process, right? The first one of those is the rules engine, which we're going to be highlighting today. It gives you a chance to centralize business logic in one location, get it out of stored procedures, custom code, or different applications or your team's brains into one place where you can easily manage and maintain it. The second pillar is robust integrations. Decisions is an open API platform, which means we can pretty much talk to any modern software application. On top of that, it comes with 70 or so pre-built modules for the most common business applications out there. Things like Salesforce, SAP, CRM systems, ERP systems, databases, you name it. We make connecting to those things in a bidirectional way super easy. Couple of clicks, no code required. The third pillar is workflow automation. So our workflow designer studio gives Andy the ability to simply drag and drop code steps from our library of over 5,000 code steps to build workflows to automate manual processes. It's self-validating. It's giving you coaching as you're going through, and you can debug those workflows right in the same studio because there's no code to compile. None of these tools require any coding experience or any coding language. The fourth pillar is process mining, which I alluded to earlier. Process mining gives us the ability to analyze log data to identify bottlenecks in a process and then make recommendations on optimizing those processes. It also gives you the ability to tie values like SLAs and costs to it so you can predict the ROI gained by streamlining a process and also ascertain how much an inefficient process is costing your company. And then finally, Decisions comes with an interface designer, so you can build unique customer and user experiences through things like web pages, dashboards, portals, reports, all of the visuals that you would hope to see. So there's three main areas of automation where we really shine. And the first one is in that rules engine. It gives this the centralized location for all of our business logic, and then gives us an opportunity to expose that logic to business users, not software engineers, to edit and maintain using graphical design tools. Like I said, it gets the logic out of all the places where it's spread all over your enterprise right now and puts it in one place where you can easily change it and maintain it without diving into the code. The rules engine, it's an enterprise class. It runs millions of transactions a day across thousands of rules in areas like medical claims processing, insurance underwriting, mortgage processing. For instance, at Roche Genentech, we're formatting and enhancing clinical lab trial data across all their global trials. The next use case is what we call extend and expand. It's really common when we work with a customer that already has some major out-of-the-box projects, and those projects need to be part of their automation solution. It could be CRMs or ERPs, databases, or other products that are built to handle a part of the process. Decisions is designed to integrate with these solutions right out of the box and then automate the special processes that they don't do well. Things like human-in-the-loop approval processes. We have several out-of-the-box integrations. So you can see some of them listed here. You'll see more through the demo. But most importantly is we can connect to anything with an API, and most modern systems have that. If you have a specific connection that you're wondering about today, just pop it into the chat. We'd love to answer that question for you. But the answer is if it has an API, we can absolutely talk to it. Taking the previous step a little bit further is we often act as an orchestration layer between different applications. If you have several applications that you have users and data in, you can use decisions as kind of a middleware to bring data in from one application or trigger an activity in another application for another user, populate an outcome, and yet another. Our most common use case is to act as an orchestration layer between various software applications or services and then engage end users in workflows that cross application boundaries. For example, Rio Tinto, the world's second largest mining company, uses decisions to integrate over 35 separate data sources for master data management. If any of this was remotely interesting to you and you'd like to learn more about the Decisions platform, reach out to us at sales@decisions.com, raise your hand in the chat, and spend some time with one of our brilliant sales engineers like Frank to get a better understanding of how we can help automate some of the tedious manual processes in your business so you can do business better. All right, Frank, back to the good stuff. Thanks everyone for your patience there. We're going to talk about what is a rules engine.
A rule is a designer element that is used to evaluate data against a set of pre-configured conditions. There are three uses of it in decisions I can think of. I couldn't think of a fourth example, but if there may be one out there. Primarily, the three that we use it for are outputting resulting data to a flow or as a response to an API call. We can use a rule evaluation to show or hide form controls, and we can use rules to filter the data that's on a report or a page. The rules engine is the thing that runs the rules at the right time and then processes their results. So we can advance a slide. So the benefits. Some of the benefits of using a rules engine include a lot of the benefits of automation in general. First off, business process automation using a rules engine reduces the amount of manual decision making that would normally be done by human workers. And with human workers being more hands-off, it reduces the opportunity to introduce human errors. Excuse me. Because you can have the rule engine handling orders of magnitude more process requests like general approvals for things, you can save costs on your workforce and get your people focused on the things that humans do best. Um, Additionally, the rules engine can serve as a central repository of decision logic. So the specific areas of responsibility that a small team may have normally handled now gets surfaced to the whole company, reducing silos and tribal knowledge. And last up, we'll go and combine the last 2 points here. With a simple interface, you can take your subject matter experts who may not be tech savvy and put the tools for maintaining and evolving the system in their hands, which frees up your IT and developer resources to focus on their own areas of responsibility. I think that covers it. I'll turn it back to you, Danny, for one more slide, I believe.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things from being someone who's not a programmer and being able to use the rules engine is the fact that it's data aware, right? For instance, in a statement rule, if I select a data type, it's only going to return verbs that are relevant to that data type, right? When I'm building that rule, I need to know any sort of programming knowledge or any sort of syntax or decision model notation as more antiquated rules engines use. Although you can export any decisions rules into decision model notation, but just to export. Really cool. As I look across, some of the different rules engines use cases that we see, this is an example of some of them, but I think really all of these different use cases really highlight the importance of centralizing business logic, right? When you're talking about use cases that cover things like claims processing or approvals, or that logic needs to be razor sharp. It needs to be centralized, and it needs to be updated easily and quickly as business conditions change. Let's take a look at the rules engine. You ready, Frank?
I think I am. Normally, our customer webinars are about high-end topics like using AI and integrating with complex systems. Today, we are going to do something simple. We're taking it back to basics. We are going to talk about business rules. Specifically, we are going to talk about the decisions rule engine, all the different kind of rules that are associated with it, and what we can potentially do with if we have a high-end application built for it. So right now, we are looking at the project hub space in our portal. I always like to show this part off before I actually dig into the real project hub space. This is a list of modules that we have with decisions. It comes right out of the box. When you install decisions, all of these modules are available. You can install them as sort of like sub-applications, subroutines that give you additional access to tools within decisions that you won't have to build out yourself. So if you're thinking about using decisions and your process integrates with DocuSign, for example, and you're wondering how hard would it be to get decisions to integrate with DocuSign, it's actually super easy. You just click the button, it installs it. Suddenly all the tools and flow steps that you need to interface with something like DocuSign become available. So I just wanted to, I love showing this off to people. I think this is a great starting point to get some ideas cooking. You can also see that from my particular installed modules, AI, Google Vertex, OpenAI, I've done a lot of AI stuff. So let's go to talking about the rules themselves. So Project Hub right here. We are in a space that I have labeled demo programs because I like to keep all those in one area here for the purposes of showing off to you all. And what I'm going to do is, let me tell you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to make 2 rules. The simplest one is our statement rule, and then I'm going to do one of our other most commonly used ones called the truth table. And I'm going to show you how decisions executes on those, because it seems to be the first question that comes up after showing some rules is, well, that's great, but how do we use it? So let's go ahead and build some rules, and then I'll throw them in a flow and we can see how it works. So I'm going to go first to our create rule. And I have flagged here just our standard rule and the truth table as my 2 favorites. You can flag any of them that you want. I'll go into greater detail about these, but let me get a working flow going so that everybody can check out how this actually works. So I'm going to call this particular flow check salary and age range. And I'm going to reveal to everybody that I do have to look at the keyboard when I type, even though I've been typing for 20 years. All right.
You too.
Yeah, it happens. All right. So this particular rule evaluation is going to need to take in some data and make a decision about it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to tell it what data it should be expecting. We're going to go ahead and do our set of input data. And since we're checking age and salary, that seems like two things we should pass in. So age, we're going to express as an integer. We don't care if you're 25 and a half years old. I'm sorry. And salary, we will actually go for the decimal because that can be expressed even to the hundredths of a dollar position. We'll go ahead and close that. It'll save automatically. Now we're going to actually build the rule. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a rule that's maybe looking to see if somebody's a good applicant for a loan, for example. So we want their age to be a certain minimum amount. We want their salary to be a certain minimum amount. So we're going to go ahead and set those both up right now. We're going to pick age. And what's interesting here is that since age is an integer, it's going to be a number. Decisions understands that, and it only puts rule verbs here that are appropriate for a numeric evaluation. If this were something like a string, it would maybe going, oh, hey, is this particular phrase in a list that we're evaluating? Does this string equal this other string value? Since we're doing a number, it doesn't surface those verbs for us. It keeps it simple. Just we're going to pick a greater than or equal to here. And
easy enough for a sales guy.
Easy enough for a sales guy. I tell everybody the most amazing thing the greatest endorsement I can offer of this product is I went to art school and I can figure this out. So here we are. We're going to do age. We're looking for somebody who's 24 years or older. And we're going to add a second rule evaluation also. This is an and. We could potentially do it as an or, but we're going to do an and right now. And we're going to look for a greater than or equal to, maybe we want them to make at least $40,000 a year. If they make less than that, they're probably not a good loan applicant. If they are younger than 24, they're probably not a good loan applicant. So we want them to be able to pass both of these. And that's it. We can real quick do a debugger check here just to make sure this is working correctly. So if I said that I was 30 years old and I made 100 grand, I wish I made 100 grand at 30 years old. We're going to check this, but we know this should pass. This should be approved. So let's go ahead and check it out. And sure enough, yeah, it checked both those things. We can see line by line its evaluations. And yeah, totally returned true. Fantastic. Let's go the other way. We're going to keep the salary at 100,000, but let's say I am 21. I have a trust fund. Oh no, that one returned false because it failed the first criteria. Doesn't even bother checking the other ones. We're just doing a simple true false evaluation. This one came out false. That's it for statement rules. We have supplemental documentation and training videos and everything to talk about all the different ways you can manipulate a statement rule to do all kinds of weird stuff. We could additionally pass out actions. We could have it modify text that came in. We could have it run a float. We have all kinds of cool things that we can do with this. For a simple introductory presentation, I'm just going to keep it simple. We're just going to evaluate these two criteria and return true or false.
You know, important things to remember here, right? That it's data aware, right? You don't need to know any sort of programming syntax to be able to write a rule. It's data aware. It's only going to give you the options that are relevant to that data type. And you're debugging the rule right in the same studio without compiling code and shipping it off somewhere to debug it, right? You're doing it right there live, which makes the time to and the ease of building and maintaining rules a much smaller.
100%. Okay, so our other most commonly used rule evaluation type is the truth table. We're going to do one here called credit score categorization. Again, the general idea is we're doing some sort of loan pre-screening, so we want them to have a credit score in a certain range. So let's go ahead and set up one for credit score. And credit scores are usually expressed as integers. I don't know of anybody that has like a 730.2 or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and save that. And I'm going to just keep the ranges here pretty simple, but I have to set up at the column how the input is being evaluated. So we're going to take that credit score and we are going to check to see if it is in between certain values. So we're going to go with between. And we're going to set up 3 of these. We're going to say that both the high number and the low number are included. Our high number for our lowest value here is going to be 650, and our bottom is going to be 0. Cool, close. We'll add another row. We'll do another range. Since we are doing inclusive, we will do, we'll add one to that. Nope, sorry, that's going to be the low value. 681. And let's say a good mid-range is 700, somewhere in here. And we'll close that. And one more row for people.
I'm aspiring middle range. I'm aspiring for that middle range.
Chase your dreams. All right.
Yeah, man.
And we got both. All right. So what are we going to do with these ranges? If a credit score comes into the table, we need it to figure out what kind of output to generate for the numbers in the certain ranges. We could pass out a Boolean, a true or false, but that's not going to be particularly useful for us. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to pass out a string. And this text is what will pop out when we run these. So we're going to say the people in the low range are just going to be auto rejected. We're going to say the people in the high range are going to be auto approved. And we will say, ooh, was that a hyphen in there? And we'll say the people in the middle are going to require manual approval. Somebody's got to actually double check their stuff. And for the no matches, if we're going to say error credit score, because if they have a credit score that's not in these number ranges, something has gone wrong. We'll just do a real quick check here. Let's say somebody in the middle range, let's go 675 should have been that middle range. And yeah, it passed out manual review. So this seems to be working correctly. Now, here's the question everybody asks. How does this actually work in decisions? How do you make logic that actually does this? So we are going to create a flow that's going to use both of these rules, and we're going to have it do some cool stuff for us. So we're going to call this maybe just demo rule flow, so I can come back to it. And here we go. We got a start step and we got an end step. Almost every flow comes with these pre-built in for you. There are a couple of other ones that may not have an end step and things like that, but we're doing a pretty typical thing here, so nothing too outrageous. We're going to run a rule. What rule are we going to run? We're going to run the one we just made. Let's see, check salary and age range. Yeah, we just made that guy, sure. And we're going to map right into him.
We're all about that reusability.
Absolutely. And we're going to run a truth table. We're going to pick our truth table. Credit score categorization. We don't even have to go digging for it. It's made recently, so it's surfaced here. If you did have to go into it, you could go into the current project, the rules, and then, yeah, it's right there. Not that far down. So if we pass our check for the age range and salary, then we want to go ahead and do the credit score check. If not, we're going to do something different. So what I want to do is also for the purposes of cleaning up the outputs on this particular flow, I'm going to change this to just the word result.
You're so good.
Oh, yeah. Now, let me grab what's going to happen if it turns out false on that first step. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drop in a create data step. And we're going to make the result value that we ultimately pass out of this flow be the word auto rejected. This should be results plural. Now, for if everything goes well, maybe we want to send off an email to a business user or an analyst or something like that. We would specify their email addresses. We could customize the body of the email. Maybe we'd add a dear so-and-so or something like that. We could really trick it out with some CSS or some rich text formatting. We have a lot of options here. This is just a simple, I'm going to just drag and drop it for the purposes of this demo. So we're going to connect both of these like that. So if we go and we get blocked on the first one here because we're too young or we don't make enough money, the output we're going to be looking for. We're going to be outputting the word result. And we're going to be pulling that from the flow. Oh, no, not a console. We're going to select from flow. And we're looking for the word results. We just want the first item. Oh, no, we can treat it as a list. Sure. Select from flow results. There we go. Got it that time. Save. Why not? So we're going to be looking for this flow. It's going to take in some values. It's going to do some rule processing on them. And then when it goes exit out, it's going to produce the results. And those results could potentially be auto rejected, auto approved, or requires manual review. If they fail that first step, it's just going to be auto rejected no matter what. Now, why are these guys showing error messages? It's because we haven't actually mapped anything to their inputs yet. This flow needs to take in some data. So we're going to take in age, salary, and credit score.
Another great demonstration of how the platform is self-validating, another way that it just helps you build faster.
Because it's tough getting through all of this and then having it at the very end tell you, oh, by the way, that didn't compile correctly or something like that.
Exactly.
So if we remember these types, these were an integer, a decimal, and an integer. And we'll go ahead and save that. And we'll pick age. That's coming in from the inputs on the flow. That salary is coming in from the inputs on the flow and the truth table. We're going to be taking the credit score from the inputs on the flow. And that's basically it. We're going to go ahead and run the debugger. Remember that our inputs are these guys. So let's say I'm not old enough, but I do have a good enough credit score, say 750, and I make $100,000 a year. So I should still fail at that first step, and the output should still be auto rejected. So I did hit that first step out. Okay, let's see if the output here is correct. Result, auto rejected. Yeah, it worked correctly. Let's try if I'm good at everything. Let's say I'm 30 and I got a pretty decent credit score and a pretty decent salary. Yeah, it went through, and the answer should be auto approved. Fantastic. So this is working correctly. This is the super quick, easy setup version of how to build two rules and throw them in a flow real fast, so that I can show you all primarily how rules are created and then how they're utilized. So now that I've covered the basics of this, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on what our other rule types are. I've lost my mouse. There we go. Working with so many different monitors here.
The struggle is real.
So I'll go ahead and I'll close this guy. It'll save. And so let me hit create rule so we can look at what the different rule types are here in decisions. I already showed you the statement rule and I already showed you the truth table. The remaining ones are kind of fun here. So sequential rule. I'm gonna focus on some of the ones that are just a little bit different flavored versions of the rules that I've just shown you. So sequential rule allows for flow behavior to a bunch of different rules to connect in their own different ways and kind of connect them together so that they operate as a single rule. The rule chain is very similar to that, except that it allows you to actually also go backwards through the flow logic if you need to. You can do forward chaining and you can do reverse chaining. These are just a couple of different ways that you can set up multiple rules in their logic to be executed in a certain way and kind of isolate them so that they can be brought in as a single rule into those flows. The last one here, rule extension. This is kind of neat. If you are building a rule and you discover it doesn't have the verb that you're looking for, so like you were doing a mathematical analysis and you needed something that wasn't just greater than or equal to, or wasn't just one of the other pre-made ones that we have in that list, you can do a rule extension and it allows you to add custom verbs to the rule that's being processed. The other three here, the matrix rule, the rule set, and the expression rule are so cool that I'm not even going to talk about them. I'm going to go straight into them and show you examples of them because I've made those for you here. All right, so I come from the video game industry. I'm super into gaming, and one of the ones that I'm trying to get better at is the casino game Blackjack or 21. There are optimal strategies for it, and I've created a matrix rule to identify those optimal strategies that I will at some point plug this into a program that will help quiz me on what I should do in certain situations. So what a matrix rule is basically is like, you can almost think of it as two different truth tables intersecting with each other. Across the top, I have what the dealer's up card equals, what they're currently showing, 2 through ace. If you've played blackjack before, you know they also have a hold card that's not being shown. You have to make your decisions on whether or not you can beat them based on your guess at what the hold card is. So what I have here is a lot of logic telling me what to do based on the 2 cards that I was handed. If I have an ace, we're going to evaluate it down this true path here. Okay, so is it a 2 through a 6? Is it a 7? Or is it an 8 or a 9? If it's anything higher than that, a 10, Jack, King, you already have blackjack. You already won. So this will tell you what to do based on those, what card you have versus what the dealer has. If you don't have it, it goes down and asks, hey, do you have a pair or something? Because sometimes you might need to split it, whatever. And then finally, if you have neither of those cool options, we'll just go off your card total to figure out what to do. So I can show you a real quick debug of how this might work.
Yep.
So let's say I had a pair of 9s and the dealer is showing a 7. So it goes through the logic. I did not have an ace, so it skips those and goes down here. Do we have a matching pair of cards? We do. I have a 9, a pair of 9s. And the dealer has a 7, so it's telling me I should stand. That's very likely because even if he has a 10 in the hole, that's a 17. My 18 will still beat it. If I hit, I'm likely to bust. Like I said, this is how I'm going to build out a larger program that's going to train me and quiz me on how well I know this chart. Yeah, so fun stuff there.
That's very cool.
Yeah. The next one, I wanted to do something a little bit more lighthearted. We tend to do a lot of like insurance examples.
Yeah, no, that's, I need you to send me that one.
Yeah, when it's done, I'll send it to the whole company. We'll make a trip to Vegas. All right. Next up is the rule set. All right. So here's the cool thing. All right. So for the rule set example I'm doing here, I'm determining truck rental eligibility. I don't know how common this is across the world, but in the United States, we have different kinds of trucks like can haul cargo and things like that. And one of the problems with them is that our standard driver's license doesn't actually apply to all of them. So I've made a couple of evaluations to determine if a person is eligible to rent a truck. And one of the critical evaluations is what is their braking system? Because a standard driver's license in the United States can work with a mechanical braking system, no problem. You push a pedal, some wires engage, and the thing brakes. There are other kinds that require special endorsements for your driver's license, like a commercial driver's license endorsement. And I made up what states those would be applicable in, but this might be something that helps eliminate the possibility of a person being eligible for renting, like, let's say, a U-Haul truck or a budget rental truck, things like that. If it has hydraulic or pneumatic braking systems, well, in the state of Virginia, you would need a CDL. You can't just use it with a regular driver's license. So that's one thing that's being evaluated here. The other two things I'm evaluating, just first off, are they younger than 25? We don't rent vehicles to people who are younger than 25. Instead of outputting true and false, I'm actually outputting the strings approved or denied. Now, doing the same on this guy, where, hey, also, if you're under 40 and you have a driver's license point score in the negatives, maybe we shouldn't rent you a truck, regardless of anything else. We probably shouldn't give you the keys to something if you're a really bad driver. So what we're looking for is when these evaluations are checked, we want approvals from all three. But you may notice when we're doing these that, if I can hit that pencil there, remember when I set up the inputs before? There are no inputs here. What's happening? Well, rule sets are a little bit different. They share inputs across all of the rules being evaluated. So something like age is being used in two different rules. I don't have to reinitialize it twice, and they all process. It's kind of cool. They work as a group together, and you can get a single process to check through all the rules, and you don't have to map in a bunch of different inputs for each specific rule. Also, cool feature, if you decide that, like, hey, we don't care if people are under 25 anymore, you just turn that rule off and it doesn't check it anymore. It doesn't delete it if you want to add it back at a future date, but it just turns it off. So what does this look like when we debug it? Well, you'll notice I haven't dropped this in a flow. So let's see what happens. I have a couple of unit tests set up that have pre-populated with some values. So somebody who's 26 years old, they're trying to rent a truck with a mechanical braking system, that's fine. Doesn't matter what state they're in, mechanicals are fine for everybody. And they have a 5 in their driver's license. So they're a pretty good driver. Let's see what happens. Decisions actually drop that rule set in a test flow for us so that we can check it out. And what we're looking for is the word approved 3 times in this final output here. So let's view the output data. All right. So for our state restrictions check, it's approved. Fantastic. For our age less than 25, we were not under 25, so we're approved. Fantastic. And for our bad driving record, yeah, we were approved for that as well. We can go through and we can, if any of them came up weird, we can check them specifically. Yeah, so I failed being less than 0, so I am on the else path here. I was approved. I failed being less than 25, which means I'm approved. And the state restrictions, mechanical. Yeah, I'm approved. I have set up unit tests for all of the different possibilities. So if I have a -2 driving record, if I have a pneumatic braking system in the state of Virginia, if I have, I'm underage, but everything else is fine. If I run them all, they're evaluating their criteria and determine that all of them pass successfully, including the ones where it failed, because I want them to fail elegantly. So that's how rule sets work. They're really cool. And you should, if you're interested in going down this path, when you talk to your sales rep, when you talk to your architect or whomever you end up working with, definitely ask about this. This is one of our newer features, and it's super cool. The last rule type I'm going to look at before getting into another part of the demo here are our expression rules. Expression rules are kind of a cool thing. You can actually set up a mathematical expression as the thing being evaluated. We're looking to make it true or false here, based on whether or not the equality or inequality symbol has been validated. So for this particular expression, I'm looking for, I want my system to tell me if things are affordable. I see a cool thing, I'm going to ask it, I'm going to pass to it, what the base cost of that thing is, what it costs to ship it, and then we're going to add a tax rate on top of that. And then I've told it what my available funds are. So it's checking to see if the total cost of this is going to be less than my available funds. So let's look at that after it got dropped into a flow. If it's true, then I'm going to set the affordable flag to true right there. And if it's false, I'm going to set it to false, or just not true. And that's what gets passed out. So let's check what we can do with this here. I have two different checks that are going to happen. One is affordable. I have $10,000. Fantastic. The thing I'm buying is only $5,000. It costs $1,000 to ship at an 11% tax rate. The other one, it costs $4,000 and then $500 to ship, and then that it's going to put me slightly over my available funds of $49.50. It's like $49.60 or something like that. So this one should fail, and the other one should succeed. And if they both do that, that means that their unit tests have passed, and they both passed. Fantastic. What does the rule evaluation look like in a case like this? When I get to the outcome, the done step, it's passing out the value affordable. I'm just checking to make sure that in that case where it was bad, that it is actually passing out affordable equals false, and it did that. And that's it. Real cool stuff with the basic rules here. So now we can get into something a little bit more advanced. Now that we've looked at these guys here. You ready for something more advanced? Let's do it.
Yeah, I love advanced.
This is a really cool project that a lot of people put a lot of effort into, and I love having the opportunity to show it off. So we're going to take a little bit of a step back, and we're going to look at a project that focuses on rule creation and management, see what that might look like. What I'm showing you now, and for the rest of the demo portion of this presentation, is something we call, oddly enough, the rules demo. If you schedule time to have us perform a demo for you, and you say you're interested in learning about our rules engine, you would get some version of the following presentation by one of our sales engineers. They probably go more in depth into the specific areas that you're interested in. So this is just going to be a high level. This is going to be a general overview of it. If you see anything you'd like to know more about or have us go into greater detail about, schedule a demo. We'd be glad to walk you through it. Right now, we're looking at the Project Hub space in our portal. Once again, this is where we could potentially go over here and create new projects with as many different rule setups for all your use cases. You can also set up your user accounts or user groups to have their access restricted to just certain folders or certain actions. Right now, I'm an administrator, so I have access to everything. This demo I'm getting ready to show you touches on one possible way you could set up a project front end for your system users. Oh, you don't want them to have access to everything. For example, if you're okay with your business users or analysts tweaking the percentage rates that are being used on your process rules, but you don't want them to start messing with the workflows themselves, this is the kind of thing that you can set up for them. So we're going to surface just the rules here on these dashboard pages. So also, hey, let's look at this dashboard for a second. Everything here is built in decisions. we have drag and drop components for our page and form designers. You can quickly make something that looks like this or switch things up however you want for your needs. A lot of our components have some native styling options that you can, or you can also, apply CSS or whatever you need to do to get exactly what you're looking for. We can add more reports. We can look at some case process folders. These things down here can show off cool KPI tiles. Whatever you'd like, we can potentially do it. Also, I think I'll go ahead and introduce the possibility here of what this might look like for the end user if you didn't want them to have access to everything. So I'm going to add a Chrome parameter here that turns everything off. If I hit F11, this is maybe how you would want your end users to access this. You wouldn't want them to have access to getting into the project hub data and things like that. So you can make this look like a standalone application, not a problem. We can add some Chrome parameters. We can even set what Chrome parameters are given to which types of users. So if I am an administrative user, I do get to see all of this. All right, let's go into this. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to create a rule. So instead of having to go, up into the toolbar, hit create rule, and then getting that list, I can simply make a statement rule. I set it for that department there, and I'm going to do, let's say salary check. And we're going to go ahead and create. And we're going to set up some input data. We're going to go salary. And decimal, of course. And we'll just, real quick, nothing too elaborate. Greater than or equal to, let's say, $50,000. This particular program is kind of mimicking an insurance adjuster or underwriter program for people who are interested in getting insurance on their musical instruments. If you've had a demo with us before, you might have seen something very similar to this. We're constantly iterating on it to make it more presentable or add more functionality to it. So let's go into manage rules and see if that one I just made is there. Hey, salary check. There's my guy. Fantastic. And you can see that we have a bunch of other rules in this system, categorized according to different areas of effect that they may have. And when I indicated that I wanted mine to be a compliance department rule, it categorized it as a department rule. Fantastic. I can go ahead and access it by clicking here. And, you know what? I put in the wrong number. Let's say I wanted to put in 60,000. Okay. Done. Fantastic. Okay, so what that did is now we can go check the rules versions. It's got a list of all the rules that were on that previous page, but it's also keeping an audit trail of all the changes that have been made to them. So in this example, in this kind of situation that we're pretending that we're in, I'm a business user that works for this insurance company, and I just made a rule and I had to tweak it. Some supervisor or some manager may want to come back in later and audit the changes that have been made to these rules, and that they click on mine and they say, oh, wait, there was a prior version of this. Let's make sure Frank is doing his job correctly, or I guess in my name today is admin, that they did it correctly, or see if we need to actually revert to one of the earlier versions. That's kind of a really cool feature that we've added in this presentation here. If you want to, we can do a rule audit report. And what this does is it takes all of the rules that were run in a process. So this claim was processed. They wanted a claim amount of 14,000. It talks about every rule that was hit along the way to make the final decision of approved. It talks about the inputs. It talks about what time it was run. It's really neat. You can go back and just do a site check, just do a sanity check to make sure that the system is operating in a way that makes sense. We can also talk about, what if we don't want to go into that rule to change things? What if we want to surface just the parts of the rule that we are allowing people to tweak? Well, we can do that here through a separate interface that just checks, just allows the person to pass in as a variable what value they want changed. So let's look at this submission period threshold. Okay, let's go look at what rule that is referring to here. So that is this guy right here, submission date check There's our variable that's being passed in. What's just checking is, have you submitted your claim within the appropriate amount of time? And if we go to the change rules advance here, we're allowing people 30 days. What if I'm the business analyst and I've been tasked with, I just came out of a meeting. They said, you know what, people are complaining that that's not enough time, and we agree we're going to go ahead and start giving them 45 days. So we're going to review those changes. Simple. I did not have to dig into anything. Nothing is broken. Fantastic. So I'm going to close this. And as the admin, I should be receiving an assignment to evaluate that. Does not look like that happened 100%. I'm still learning this demo myself, but I would normally receive an assignment. Let me see if I can do that again. Let's change it to 50 days. I think Chrome is actually blocking my my assignment pop-up.
I think one of the really important things about the rules management capability is you can see from the different reports that Frank showed, we really capture a ton of data through the rules engine, and it really builds kind of a chain of custody for each decision that's made through the business, right? It really provides a granular view. And I think one of the things we haven't talked about yet, either with our rules engine, is because Decisions is an open API platform, we can easily expose any workflow or any rule that is built into Decisions to an external system or platform. It's really powerful.
Totally. Yeah. We can see that the rules change requests did come in, and they are sitting here for some administrator or senior ranking person to come in and approve them or deny them. Really cool stuff. The last couple things I'll talk about are some of the dashboards that we can make to show you all how your business is working. You can talk about how many claims were received. The most claimed instrument was piano. Fantastic. You can see changes over time. You can see what kinds of things. We can break down the information however you want. As long as we know how you want the information divided, we can create different reports and different reporting structures for you all to see that information. No problem. And then if you want to get beyond the claims and actually see the rules that are being run, we have that down here. We can totally do that for you. And we can also provide supplemental documentation, make instructional material available as part of our document viewer, make that information always available to your people out there. And, we can also do some quick changes to our groups, our roles, things like that. So yeah, if any of this interests you, definitely reach out to our salespeople, and they will schedule a meeting with you. We can go into greater detail. You can see, well, our particular company has this different application for it. How would you do that? We can work with you on that. I'm going to do one last cool thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I love cool things.
Yeah. Let's go into, remember this demo rule flow that I made? This is like one of the first things I did. I'm going to do some magic here, and I'm going to make it so that we can call this flow from outside of Decisions.
Watch this, people.
Yeah. So this is another question that comes up a lot is how can Decisions integrate with a currently existing system? How a lot of people have a front end that they like, and they just want to use Decisions for the back end for the rules processing and things like that. We have the ability on every flow, on every rule, to set them up to do an API call or whatever have you that may best interface with your current workflows and systems. So I just had that flow process real quick to show me what I would need to do to act this. It's giving me a URL that we need to do. I'm going to bring up Postman, which is the fun tool here to see if how to pretend to be an outside application that's trying to contact Decisions. So I'm going to tell it it's looking to do some post information at that URL address, and that URL is expecting this kind of data. So we'll paste that in here. So you may recognize that these are the inputs to that flow. We can set them up however we want. It's not de-highlighting for me. Fantastic. All right. So let's say age 30, salary a bunch. Go 1 million. Be ambitious here. Nice. That may be 10 million. I don't know. And credit score 750. So 70. That's a lot. So we are expecting a return of auto approved because I'm an excellent applicant, right? So let's see if this works. Results, auto approved. It ran that flow from Postman without me having to pull up decisions. And I think that's just one of the neatest things that we can do here. What happens if I lower my age to 20? Is I got to come back auto rejected? It should. Hey, auto rejected. Fantastic. That's basically everything I wanted to cover today. I know I didn't have a whole lot of time to do everything, but I wanted to show what our rules engine can do at a super introductory level. I showed you how to incorporate the rules into workflows. I showed off some of our more advanced rule types. I walked through what a project may look like if you set it up so your users don't need to go into the workflows or the project hub to create or change rules. I also showed off some reporting, some auditing capabilities we have. Then, as our fun little bonus treat, I showed how to call a workflow with rules in it headlessly from outside of decisions and have it return results. Yeah, so if you all are interested in learning more, we have some 2-ish minute videos here I want to show that go into greater detail about our rules. So, like, here's our rules overview, some dashboard overviews. You may recognize a familiar voice on these. I did, I think, almost all of these here. So you go to our website, you go to videos, and just set up for 2 minutes. The 2-minute demos, that'll get you started. I think that's it for me. So I'll kick it back over to you, Danny.
Man, that was awesome, Frank. Yeah, we just redid our videos page, which is really cool. I always am impressed when we are able to expose a rule like that to an outside system, right? I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but it was like literally 3 clicks for Frank to create a post call with a JSON structure. I mean, it's like that, right? So even if we don't have a module for it, that open API layer makes Decision's a great choice for automating and orchestrating stuff across your enterprise. If you're interested in reaching out to us and seeing a demonstration meeting with one of our brilliant sales engineers like Frank, reach out to us at sales@decisions.com and check out decisions.com/events to register for our next webinar, which is AI rules engines in healthcare, improving decisions and patient outcomes. That's July 31st at the same time. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. If I don't see any further questions, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks so much for joining us today, everyone. Play us out, Chase. Thanks, Frank. Great session, man.
Thank you, Danny.
Thanks so much for joining us today, everybody. There's that groove.